Hi, I'm Rob Patz.
Hey, I'm Jason Webb. Another week of Thrive with Rob and Jason. We're here. We're here trying to thrive, Rob. It's December, and fantasy football is coming to an end. So now we might be able to thrive.
Like Michigan, I will probably be firing my coach. That is,
Oh, we had to start right there, being the Ohio
we
State
had to
fan.
go right.
love it.
No, because I don't want to talk. I am not talking about the Hoosiers beating Ohio State. We are not doing
I was going to
that.
bring it up, Rob. Just saying.
Hey, and this is the thing. And we went into the game. A lot of Ohio State fans went into the game saying, if we're going to lose, this is the team we want to lose to.
Yeah.
What a great story. You realize 2 years ago when Kurt was hired as the coach of the Hoosiers, Kurt Signetti, he took over a job that was the worst in FBS. They had the worst record. I mean, Indiana is known as a basketball university, and they had the worst record. And here he is, number one team in the country, deserves it.
Mhm.
Number one offense, it's everything, and it's super cool.
Like that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hate on somebody like that. It's not like Michigan. We just hate Michigan just because. I mean, literally last night, as this whole thing started to unfold with Michigan, my friends have a group text. It's a bunch of broadcasters here in Ohio and Michigan that are friends of mine. And it was like the Ohio broadcasters were just dying. It was tough. It's a tough situation. Hey, listen, we're not in making any light of the circumstances, and obviously the coach needs probably some help, obviously, and there's more news coming out every day about it. But yes, we were okay. Here's the reason we were okay with this, because we want to play Alabama, because we believe Alabama is going to beat Oklahoma, and we want Alabama so we can just train wreck them. Or maybe that's just me, because DeBoer left Washington, and I'm like, I want Ohio State to throw 70 on them and just have him like. But now they're talking about Kalen DeBoer being the coach at Michigan, and I'm like, that would just be miserable to have to see his ugly mug once a year.
I don't see him leaving Alabama. He's got a great position there. But like you're talking about with Indiana, man, I watched that coach after the game when he went onto the stage and actually chatted with all the sportscasters and stuff. I thought that guy was awesome. He didn't care about everybody. He just cared about his team and his people. Just a really, really cool guy. He's a guy's guy.
In his greatest line last year, because he came from James Madison, if you don't know this. So last year, when they had a great season, they had a really good season last year. For Indiana, it was an amazing season. And this one reporter asked him about winning, and he says, "Hey, this is not new to me. Google me." And so now this year, the whole team, like when they do something great, you'll see them on the sidelines going, "Just Google me." And it's like, that's the kind of guy I want to play for. It's like Dan Campbell type thing. And I think you're kind of seeing that. You're not seeing the guy that, I don't know. It's tough. You're seeing. I think you're seeing the next generation of coaches being these guys that are guys. They're leaders. They're men. They go, because football especially, and my knees will tell you this.
Mine too.
When I try to get out of bed, trust me, just come and I'll just get up out of a chair. If we're sitting around, let me get up out of a chair and I'll show you. I sound like the Rice Krispies.
You should see me and Rob getting out of a chair when we're eating lunch together. It takes some time.
It's a plan. You don't just do it. You don't just jump up anymore. And it sounds like, I mean, the ligaments in my knees and ankles just snap like crazy. But you want to play. I'd play for any of those guys right now, because yes, they're going to be tough. But at the same time, if you really, really, really try your best, they're going to be right behind you. Oh, yeah. And I think that's kind of it. So,
but hey,
we'll see what happens with Michigan.
I do got to bring up something, Rob. Something we've been talking about, all fall here. You've been talking about my Denver Broncos and our team, and we're number one in the AFC, actually number one in the NFL right now, Rob. And Mr. Bo Nix, we won't say Mo Picks because he's actually done very well. I just got to rub it in a little bit.
Yeah, but here's the thing with Mo picks. Just so you know, and yes, and hats off to you. Of course, you're beating up teams like the Geritol Chiefs, who look older than seriously right now. Uh, uh,
6 and 7.
Kelsey looks as old as we do. He runs he looks like when Gronk had 2 bad knees, and he looked like Herman Munster running down the field. If you don't know who that is because you're young, Google who Herman Munster was from the 60s. This character, and Kelsey's running just Travis Kelsey, and I like Travis. I think he's a great tight end, and his 2 quarterbacks. We loved our tight ends because those were the guys that usually were open, and then we wouldn't get killed by a 300-pound guy running us over.
It's the truth.
But Travis looks old. Mahomes looks confused, and I swear I don't know what happened with Kansas City. I feel bad for them. I do actually kind of feel bad for them because it just looks like it's kind of like Philadelphia. It looks like the wheels just came off.
Oh, I know, right?
And that's so weird when you talk about 2 teams that are Super Bowl teams and just looking confused. Jalen Hurts looks like, please don't make me go out there anymore.
Yeah,
and
it looks real bad, especially all those ex-Super Bowl teams. The Chiefs, the Philadelphia. It just does not look good for them this year. There's really nobody that's really stepped up. Even the Broncos, like I love them, we're 11-2. They've won every game by, I think, an average of 5 points or so. It's been the last fourth quarter things, and it's hard to sustain that. Right?
I get scared for, and I generally have a disdain for the Denver Broncos from an early age, because being a Seahawks fan, and we used to be in the same division.
We did,
and John Elway and that goofy smile. I would have put on pads and knocked him out. And here's the thing, though. I think the part that scares me about Denver is what you just said. Average win is like 3 to 5 points per game. Seahawks now, and not just saying because I'm worried about them. In fact, our guest today, one of them is a fan of the Colts. I'm worried about the Seahawks, even though they have the most 20+ point wins in the league this year, which, by the way, is a Super Bowl trend. So the team that has the most lopsided wins is usually the team that goes on to win the Super Bowl. Philadelphia did this. Kansas City has done this. Even going back, they were talking about teams from the mid 2000s. That it's a very known stat. The problem seems to be, though, is Sam Darnold, much like Mo Picks, likes to throw the ball to the other team. And here's the other thing, and we'll close on this segment with this, with Bo. And again, I like Bo personally. I think he's cool. He's at Auburn, then at Oregon. Look at how many passes of less than 15 yards he has this year. It's easy not to throw picks if you're throwing them 4 yards or they're bubble screens. I mean, come on, man.
It all adds up. It all adds up, Rob.
It does. Look at that. Look at how many plus 20. Look how many plus 20 throws he has that are completions. Now he has a lot, and this tells you right here, shows you how geeky we are when it comes to football. I actually looked this up because I knew you were going to talk about this. He is in the lower third of quarterbacks of completions of 20+ yards or more.
We're still 11-2. We'll take it. The thing is, on our sports radio talk here, I was listening to it yesterday, and there's been 3 teams in the last 40 years that have the win rate that they do at the percentage with the lowest, the 5.3 or 3 to 5, whatever it is, in points and how much they've won. There's been 3 teams. Bill Parcells won the Giants, Bill Belichick with the Patriots, and now the Broncos. And if you look at that, they're all part of that Bill Belichick or Bill Parcells tree, right?
They're all part of that tree.
What they do, but it's crazy in how that worked. But man, hey, Rob, we haven't even thrown up on our sponsor today, ConnectMD. Different way to think about health and how it can go with concierge medical service. You actually have a relationship with your doctor. Check this out, guys. The QR code's right here. ConnectMD. We'll keep the code up in the corner of the screen. Man, check that out. It's up there. Yeah, way over on the other side over there. But Rob, man, our guest today,
camera angles.
I know, right? Camera angles. But hey, our guest today, one is an Indianapolis fan. Today we're blessed to have a powerful father and son duo joining us, Craig and Jeremy Walker. Craig is a Christian men's coach, author, and founder of Craig Walker Coaching, helping men break free from shame and step into the identity God designed for them. And alongside him is his son, Jeremy, a successful general contractor, husband, and father who has lived out the impact of Craig's teachings firsthand. Together, they bring a generational perspective on identity, leadership, fatherhood, and what it means to walk with Jesus in real life. Gentlemen, it's an honor to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yes. And so you guys are down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area now, right?
Yeah, you can see Jeremy in the background. He's in the middle of it. I'm out on the peripheral. I'm in the country. Where I'm happiest, out of the traffic.
I understand. Well, again, great to have you guys on the show. Craig, we've talked quite a few times just about what you got going on in your coaching journey and just how you've built your life. One thing I'd love to start with you guys on is your identity in Christ, and especially for men today. Like, talk about your story with Christ. Craig, I'll let you start, and then we'll kick it over to Jeremy and see how that's led you.
Yeah, Jeremy can say a lot about it because he's really seen it all. I mean, I was like 20 when he was born and with a really low self-worth. And then to see that journey, he's actually worked for me as a pastor too. So I trust Christ. God changed my life. And I was a pretty successful guy at General Motors, boat, car, truck, airplane, new home on the country club. And then God saved me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've been chasing this empty dream. I want to give people something that really matters. So I go into ministry and just think, okay, I'm in Jesus now. Everything's right. But I found out getting saved didn't fix it all.
Right.
Getting saved put me in a position to fix it all. And so I carried that with me for years as a pastor and had some success, planted churches. And the last church I planted, Jeremy was the worship pastor there. And within 3 years, we're running 325. I remember just knocking out the door, baptized at about 10 a week. It's pretty exciting. I mean, it's the thing. Everybody loves it. But on the inside, I knew something was wrong. And it had nothing to do with the church itself. It was the guy that was leading it. He had a broken heart. I just thought something was wrong with me. I really believed it down in my core. And I think God just said, enough of this. Yeah. And he put his thumb on my life and that church began to die. And really it was inevitable because I trusted God to a level, but not that level. And everything fell apart. Jeremy quit me, my son. Well, that was a low blow. How could you do that? I haven't gotten to that yet.
Hold it against you.
Another pastor, I wound up having to let go. He had a different vision, and he was a great guy, a godly man. He just wasn't a good fit for us. And the church went all the way from, we started like with 80 people on our lunch team on that first Sunday, and then grew it all the way up to 325, 525 on Easter, our high attendance. And then to watch it within another 2 years go all the way back to 80. And I started as a single staff, and now, 5 years into this, I'm a single staff and have fallen all the way back to our lunch team. That's all that's left.
Wow.
And I just thought, you can't turn a church around like this. It's impossible. I just kept hearing God whisper, but if God is God. And I knew that I would have to stop doubting and start believing. And that's where I had my crisis. I think literally I spent a night with God, and it was my Jacob moment where I came away. I didn't have a broken hip, but I had a new walk, and he literally changed my life. I spent most of my life seriously being that king that's only 12 inches tall. And he's always worried about, I'm not tall enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. And all kings are taller. And I was always worried about what I'm not, like that king. And he just think I'm a terrible king. I'm not tall enough to be a king. And someone came by and told him one day that he was a great ruler and he lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
So you get that way. You got to get that joke first. We can't rush past it.
Yeah.
He goes from, he's not a king, but he's a great ruler. 12 inches tall, You get that? Say,
yep. No, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. Now I hit you. Okay. That's my great dad joke. But that was me. I couldn't look at who I was. I had to focus on who I'm not. And that robbed me of so much of my life. And in that time, I found, God walked me through a progression and changed my life. And now I'm still 12-inch king. I'm not any bigger, taller, smarter than I used to be, but I'm enough.
I
I'm
understand.
enough. God created me to be just me, and that's plenty for everything He's called me to do. And so I stepped into this exciting part of my life. I retired as a pastor, started in 2018, started this ministry, and it's kind of evolved to where now all I do is coach men on winning that battle. And I
That's
love
good.
it. They become my friends. I watch them change. I watch them change the world, and it's a blast.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this. You know, I don't know of a man that at some point in their life hasn't struggled with like shame, self doubt, who their identity is in Christ. And we talk about a lot of these things. Jeremy, I'd like to focus this on you. Like, how have you seen this, especially through your dad and going through these things and you in your life?
Well, I think as he was talking about his walk change, the best way I can describe watching dad, go through that process is when he walked before, it was more like walking like he was intentionally aiming for a brick wall to go through,
Hmm.
everything forward. And I think now, um, there's if you can imagine after that dad joke, but he walks with a bit of swagger.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing a hat with a 2 foot long feather coming out the back, just strolling down.
Love it.
There's a new sense of, I want to say confidence, but it's not confidence in himself. It's confidence
Mhm.
that he's finally landed into the skin that he was born to be in after all this time. So
Man, and seeing you and your walk and just talking to your dad and learning what you do, you're an
sure.
amazing general contractor. You build high end structures and things out in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Mhm.
Seeing how Christ has worked in your life, and especially as you kind of lead in this industry where it's very blue collar and there might not be a lot of God, how do you
Right.
take what your dad's kind of built within you and you guys have done things together? How do you take that in your walk every day?
Well, I like to say that in my job, my role, obviously I have a scope of work to accomplish. I've got
Mhm.
walls to build and paint to put on and all these things. But to make all of that happen, I have to be very good at getting the very best out of the guys that are working
Mhm.
for me and with me. Um, I'm not out to get perfection out of them. I'm just out to get their best and whatever that might be. And to be honest, most of the time, I don't even think they know what that best is, and neither
Mhm.
do I. That's the fun part of the relationship side of getting to work with subcontractors and um, so on. But my goal is to find out, kind of on a general sense of who they are, maybe
Mhm.
who God has made them to be, and what talents and key skills He's given them that maybe they don't know, but I kind of know a little bit of the uh, code that they were made with. If
Mhm.
whether they know Christ or walk with Him or not makes no difference. He still created them, and I
Yep.
know that.
Yep.
And so I think that's how it translates into, I guess, my world of finding out who they were made to be, and as well as I continue to learn, who it is that I'm made to be.
Amazing. Yeah,
So
I've been in the blue collar world for years, and I'm the same exact way. It's more not necessarily being able to preach in them that when you have the opportunity
yeah,
completely, but it's living your
right,
life, living, maybe putting some worship music on, or they just see you stroll with stroll with that walk that you have, and they start to
yeah,
say, okay, what's different about him, right? And that's huge in just how we live our lives as men. And Craig, you put this into perspective a lot when I've talked to you about how your coaching is breaking generational cycles within men, and it's taking these destructive cycles that we have as guys and changing that walk, as you say. What are some of these like steps that you see this, or that you see maybe fathers needing to be doing this, or talk about a little bit of that?
Oh, I love talking about that because when God saved me, the first thing that I realized, not just saved me, but helped me win this battle. And by the way, I didn't win this until I was 58 years old.
Hmm.
I lived this for a long time, even as a saved man, even as a pastor. But when He set me free, the first thing that was on my mind was, oh my gosh, I've passed all this junk on to my kids.
Hmm.
We have this vision that our kids are going to become like that vision that we have of who we wanted them to see us as,
Hmm.
but they don't. They become like who we really are.
Yeah.
I knew it. And Jeremy can tell you, he's had his own struggles, but God has let me take this and pass this on to my kids. The first thing I want to do is put in a book. And so I wrote a book called Shameless, The Life You're Born to Love. Well, I wrote that for my kids. Jeremy got the right to forward of it. And it's all of my kids. They've got this book now. I've either coached them formally or informally through this whole thing. So what I want to do now is set dads free so they can be that husband, that dad, that leader that God called them to be. But they've got to win this internal battle. If they don't win the battle, their kids aren't going to win the battle, and it's just going to perpetuate itself.
Man. Yeah, check out the QR code here. That's craigwalkercoaching.com. You can get more information for his book, for his coaching, and all those pieces there. I'm going to take it off screen because it's kind of putting me on the witness protection program here. But Craig Walker Coaching, we'll put it up there again later, guys. The power of fatherhood is a huge thing. We're all fathers here. For both of you, what's one thing you wish every father understood about their influence, not just for their kids, but generations after them? Because like you said, those generational impacts we see from my grandpa to my dad to me to my kids. What do you guys see that as fathers?
Well, I think about this a lot. I've often asked God, would you let me write another book and tell about this? This is not a promo because I hadn't even started anything, but I do. I think about it. And what I see, I wish fathers could wake up to how to read their kids. Their discipline, their correction, their tone. Just watch my kid and know what's going on inside. I wish we could. The scripture gives us a great verse. Fathers, do not exasperate your children lest they lose heart and give up. And we exasperate them. Sometimes we see it comes out in anger. And sometimes they just don't talk. They get quiet. We just need to learn how to read our kids so that then we can learn how to lead our kids to be fully themselves, to be fully alive. There's a verse that God gave me as a dad that I've clung to, and I think I did it. And it said, Father, or my son, give me your heart and let your eyes delight in my ways. If we could just read our kids and then focus on winning that heart and then being the man God called us to do, we'd change their life. Win their heart. Just win their heart. And then be the man that God wants you to be. And if God has let me do anything, it's win my kid's heart.
Yeah. Jeremy, what about yourself, sir?
Well, I agree with that because I've lived 49 years now hearing that. And I can say that he's done that, at least with me. And I've done taken that and tried to do the same thing with my kids, which are now fairly grown. I would say aside from that, one of the biggest things I would say is give yourself a pass a lot.
I love that. Yeah.
And that is
give yourself sometimes, right?
You got to give yourself a pass because while you could raise your children afraid of what you've done to them, wounded them, ruined them, scarred them, whatever it is. I think that because what I know about God's forgiveness, and God is bigger than my ability to parent. And even though I may infuse a little bit of my own carnalness and less godliness in my parenting, God has the ability and often does override that and kind of smooths out those rough edges where I think I look at all these peaks and ridges where I think, oh man, I was too hard. Oh man, I was too sarcastic. Oh man, I was this. And the reality is that I think a lot of times I'm the only one that sees that because God never let those sharp edges get to my kids.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, I think God has allowed me to have a lot of freedom and just giving myself a pass because he said, I got you.
Yeah.
You didn't ruin them as bad as you think. I got you.
No, I agree.
And so
a lot of prayers,
you
right?
can't live with that guilt is all I'm saying. As a parent, you can't. In the years I'm in now that my kids are, somewhat grown, and I'm seeing all the results of the last 18 to 21 years. I'm seeing how I was too hard or too soft or too overbearing or whatever. I'm seeing that now. And so now is when I'm talking to myself daily when I say giving yourself a pass, because when I see my son or my daughter do something, I think that was my fault.
Yeah.
I did that.
I've got something to add to that. If I can, I just want to say amen, like capital A, and on that. I just believe that so much. And I tell parents all the time, because I've got these guys that are saying the same thing. Oh my gosh, I did such a bad job. give yourself a pass. You have to realize that you grew up in a broken home too. All of us did. And what I can tell you is you just did the best you could. It might have been great, but that's okay. You did the best you could. Now you've got an opportunity to do better. And you're still going to have influence the rest of your life. So just be the best you and just keep pouring into them. Just do what you've got and then let yourself off to the past, because God has them on a path of faith, just like he has you. And so just as he chose you for today, he chose them for today. He chose you for their parents. It's going to be okay. Just trust him for today and just keep getting better.
See, you already kind of led into my last question here as we finish up in like the last couple minutes about just living as a man of God in a busy, distracted world. Like it's one of the biggest tools of the enemy is distraction. You know, especially with us as men, we feel overwhelmed. We have feel disconnected. We want to walk closer to God. We think we're messing up. You guys have already kind of walked through this and gave some general knowledge of to our audience about how men do this. Like what is one practical thing that guys we can do as fathers, as men, as husbands, as sons? Like what is one practical tip? And I know, Craig, you've been a pastor. I'll start with you, then we'll come over to Jeremy.
I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. This is my life.
Perfect.
I got up this morning. I kissed my wife. I said, I love you. And that's my morning routine. I get out of bed. I fix coffee. I eat a bowl of cereal. And then I get my Bible. That's just every day. And today I'm memorizing Isaiah 49:4 because God has called me to this ministry to change the lives of thousands, and I'm not reaching thousands yet. So, so I've just got to not look at what's going on and keep my eyes focused on what is. This is such a great verse. This is one of the servant psalms. This is about, or not servant psalms, servant passages, prophecies about Jesus. So Jesus actually said this. And it's the Old Testament that he was going to say this, that he thought this. He said, my work, God told him, said, you are Israel, you will glorify me. And Jesus said, my work seems so useless. I've spent my strength for nothing and to no purpose. Jesus said that. But then he said, yet I will trust the Lord. Yet I will trust the Lord. I will leave my future in his hands. I've given it all to him. And so while he had all that stuff going on that is saying, I'm not good at, it's not working, he felt those things like we do. He just didn't let that guide his life. He continued to walk by faith, saying, Father, I give it to you. I trust you for my reward. And that's what I'm just doing every day. And that's what I ask every dad to do, every man.
It's all about the relationship with the Lord first, right? Jeremy, quick 30 seconds real fast.
Well, I have the benefit of all of Dad's lessons and heartaches in this, because, you know, as me starting to be a dad and a husband and, or not in that order, but, you know, and then working in a secular world, I have the benefit of not starting necessarily at ground zero, right? He's learned a lot of hard lessons and he has passed those on. And then now I'm picking it up and I'm doing the same thing with my wife and kids. And so specifically my children right now, I have a 21-year-old who is doing, you know, finding his path and his wheelhouse, and another son that joined the military, so he moved out at 3 months after graduating high school. And then my daughter just got accepted to Texas Tech University, so now I'm trying to learn how to pay for college. And so I could wake up every day and feel a bit overwhelmed, and I'll be honest, I sometimes do. And even during the day, I'll think, how in the world is all this going to happen? How do I help one son figure out what his future is going to hold, and how do I help the next son navigate being on his own at such a young age? And then how do I turn loose my daughter onto Lubbock, Texas?
It's all about having the relationship with the Lord and starting with that, right?
Yeah, every day I just have to rest in the fact that I'm not going to figure that out, and I'm not going to solve it all. That God's going to take care of it as long as I'm faithful to him, and I'm faithful to support them in every opportunity that arrives every day, because every day is different. So
we appreciate you guys being with us today. Man, it has been awesome. We could do 2 shows like this. Jason, where's the time gone? Man, it went by way too fast today.
It goes fast, man. Every week we'll be here. We'll be here again next week, Rob.
That's it. We'll do that. Hey, go out and thrive.